Welcome to Women Inspired. I'm your host, Linda Ugelow, and on this show I speak to women and a few cool dudes, all of them artists, healers, change makers, and entrepreneurs, about how they put their dreams into action. And today I have as my guest Marci Nault, who is the founder of the Dream Tasters
Dreams Tasting Conference.
Dreams Tasting Conference. Yes, so talk about dreams. Here we go.
Yes. So I actually had the idea for the Dreams Tasting Conference while I was drinking wine, where best ideas come from, I find. I was actually out and I was tasting an ounce of wine before I bought the bottle. And I had spoken to so many women that year about going after their dreams while I was out on book tour. And so many women couldn't name their dreams. They're like, I'm caught up in everything I'm doing between trying to be a superpower at work and family and taking care of parents, that there just isn't enough space. I don't know where to begin. And I thought, well, if you get to taste an ounce before you buy the bottle, what if I could take away all the somedays, all the fear, all the commitment, put it all in one place, and you could try out an ounce of 50 different things in a day and know that you could do them. Not just think, well, someday I might and I'm a little afraid, but walk away knowing that you've started your dream. And that's where the concept came from.
Wow, that sounds like I want to go.
You should. It's going to be so much fun.
Wow, that sounds great. So, like, what kinds of dreams do people have? Like, how did you know what to? So we're talking about a conference,
right?
It's a one-day conference.
Yes, and let's get rid of the idea of what a conference normally looks like.
Okay.
Where you have pipe and let's just wipe it out. We're gonna just flip it upside down, because you normally have pipe and drape. You have your vendors; they're trying to sell you something as you're going through.
What's pipe and drape?
Oh, so everyone has a table, and then there's that separation blue curtain or green curtain, and then everybody moves through and they go to a keynote, and you sit down, and that person tells you all about their success and how you too can be successful, and you think, wow, I'm inspired, and then you go home and your life pretty much remains the same most of the time. You might sign up for a class, or you might look through your swag bag and see, oh yeah, I was going to do that 6 months down the road when you found it at the bottom of the closet. We're getting rid of all of that. You're going to come and you're going to do. So we have Randy Susan Myers, who is an amazing New York Times bestseller from Jamaica Plain, and she's going to come and you're going to start writing that novel with her, and she knows what it's like to get it done. She's published internationally. We're going to have you do yoga with a yogi from India. Now, she lives in California, but she spends half the year in India. And if you think yoga in your gym is yoga, no, not until you've actually done it with Del Marie. So we have everything there, from starting your own business and really writing that business plan, to salsa dancing and learning how to become a performer. And it doesn't matter the age. We have young women coming as young as 15 years old, and we have women coming as old as 70, and everybody gets to do everything.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. It's really, really fun. And we've also talked about having me come and doing something around public speaking, which...
Absolutely. Yeah. We want women to use their voices, whether they're getting up to speak and to inspire other women, or they're just using their voices to say, this is what I need. So many women, and it was passed down to me, and my mother is an amazing woman who taught me to dream, but she believed in a lot of ways that her worth was what she gave others. So she has absolutely earned her wings in heaven, without a doubt, for being a martyr and all that she does. But every once in a while she's thinking, well, when will someone see me and I'll get something back? And I said, but Mom, it's okay to take it, to say, this is my dream, and I can give it to myself. You're not necessarily worth what you give to others, but women do feel that way. And I want to kind of change that. Yes, we are natural givers, absolutely, but we have to keep doing that natural giving to ourselves as well.
Yep.
So I want you to come and show women how to be on their own television show, because you've done and accomplished this, and I've seen your beautiful artwork. So there's so many things that you've taken on in your life. You know what it's like to live your dreams. I want every woman to have that experience.
Yeah. And the reality is there's no reason not to.
There's absolutely no reason.
In our lives, we do have the possibility to design the life we want to live in many cases.
And
right.
we stop believing that. And I don't know why. When we're little, we imagine. We create these worlds when we're out playing. And we think about what our lives are going to be. And then somehow this course seems to take us. Everyone asks you, well, what are you going to do when you grow up? Well, when are you going to become responsible? When are you going to settle down? I hear that one all the time. I don't want to settle. I want to settle for nothing less than magnificence. And people say, well, how do you do it financially, you know? And I'm like, I keep my life very simple. I keep my expenses down for the living part. And then I find ways, like I'm traveling to Cuba and someone's staying in my home in Airbnb, and I love that exchange of the community because I'm going to Cuba and staying in an Airbnb. And so there's so much exchanging when you go after your dreams. And when people think it's selfish, and you tell them that it is okay to be selfish, you end up giving quite a bit to the businesses that you go to and learn how to dance or learn how to speak. You create relationships there, and everything is a flow back and forth. If you start looking at life that way, you start finding ways to make your dreams come true. But the first step is the hardest. You don't know what you're walking into, and that's terrifying. I have a friend who recently traveled around the world. Her father passed away, and her father loved to travel. So she quit her job and took 6 months off to just travel by herself. Solo female traveler, what is she getting into? And she got accustomed to stepping off that ledge every time you walk into a new culture, a new language, a new currency. And she's like, you know, it never stopped being terrifying. And I said, that's the thing. People are waiting to be in that perfect spot, whether it's to lose weight or get this done or financially or take care of someone else. But in reality, things just happen. I got towed last night because I was in the wrong place and I didn't know it. Those things are just always going to happen in our lives. But when you step out and say, this is what I want, those things stop mattering as much. And you learn to dance with the fear. I always feel like I'm jumping off a cliff with 2 sticks, and I'm going to figure out how to make the wings on the way down. And I've hit the ground a couple of times. Absolutely. And you get up, you dust yourself off, and sometimes you sit on the couch for a couple of weeks and cry and moan about it. But then you realize, okay, I survived. What's next? I want women to know that it's okay to fail. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay, wherever you're at, to just take those small steps every day.
So what do you think gives you that resilience when you are sitting on the couch after having hit bottom?
Well, you get bored. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. How long do you really want to sit there? There's only so many episodes of television before you're like, okay, this just isn't fun anymore. And I don't really get to that point anymore. Going after my own list of dreams, that's what started all of this. I had no idea that I'd build a conference or try to help people go after their dreams. I made my own list. And now I've built my life so big that I need 5 of me to live it. It's like 1 to salsa dance and skate, 1 to write books, 1 to go out and speak, 1 to travel the world. I mean, it just goes on. And I get to get up every day excited about what I'm going to do and knowing that, yeah, I could fail. Absolutely. And then you pick up and you just keep going and keep being persistent. So those times that I'm sitting on the couch and it's like, oh, really? I have to do another rewrite on this book that's going to kill me? You know, it's just not perfect yet. And it's like, no, I don't want to do another one. I want it to be done. You just wait it out a little bit. Or you say to yourself, get over it and get up. Because you get one life. And there is this huge playground out there. And if you're not in it and living it, you're wasting time. And that's the one regret everyone has, is how much time they wasted. I hear it all the time when someone starts going after their dreams. why didn't I do it sooner? And it's like, well, you can't go back. And so when you're on that couch or you're down or you're thinking, I failed, you have to remember that point. You're going to go down the line. The longer you sit in this place, the more you're going to regret that you didn't just get up. I'm a figure skater. We fall. The only way to learn something new is to fall over and over and over. You end up with bruises. You end up with injuries. And you realize that each time you get up and each time you do it, you're that much closer. And so I may have fallen 100 to 200 times just to accomplish one move. And now I can do it with complete confidence. People expect perfection in their lives, of themselves, of others. If you can drop that, one of my dreams was to be imperfect. And everyone's like, well, did you think you were perfect before? No, not even close, you know? But I keep that in mind all the time, that I'm going to be imperfect, that I'm going to fall. And if you can do that, you get rid of ego and you give yourself the chance.
So you give yourself permission to make mistakes and to be in process.
In process is much better word than imperfect, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm really curious about something you said, that to learn one move in figure skating, you probably fell 200 times, and I totally believe you, and I can kind of imagine what kind of a move it might have been. But for some people, I would think falling and falling and falling might reinforce that feeling of I can't do this, rather than I can. So what's your mindset that allows you to be resilient and know that you are, in fact, moving towards your goal, rather than it is showing you that, yes, indeed, I can't do this? Do you?
I understand what you're saying. The feeling of failure and quitting, it's not the feeling that, oh, I failed. It's that feeling of giving up. I can't look at myself and say I didn't give it my all. Now, if I've given it my all and it didn't work and it just doesn't feel right anymore, like, okay, this is ridiculous. I don't want to hurt myself any further. Maybe I'm going to try something different. I'm going to take what I've learned from this.
I'll take up pottery.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Pottery can be a lot of failures. That clay just falls over, and you envision this beautiful masterpiece.
But you won't be as bruised. That's what I mean.
You won't be as bruised. No, I don't know. Those spinning wheels look a little dangerous to me. So I don't ever want to say that I quit on something that I really wanted. And that's what keeps me going. And also knowing that feeling of when you do succeed, there's just nothing better. And you always see just that little bit of improvement. Maybe you did it 4 times and it worked out of the 50, you know? And wow, I got this 4 times. And I'm not going to get it for 2 months again, but I got it 4 times back 2 months ago. So let me do it again. And that feeling when you get it, of that accomplishment, about not giving up. Yeah, we want everything to be easy. It's wonderful when you kind of flow with the universe and you're like, wow, this is so in sync with everything, and those are those beautiful gifts. But there's also something about falling 1,000,000 times and saying, I did this. I never gave up. And it's those feelings, it's those wins that make life even more fun and more exciting. I'm sure you know those feelings.
I'm in the middle of them. I'll give you an example. I've always mentioned to people, I'm a performer and I'm a singer, and people assume certain things about you when you're on stage. They project what they think is your experience. And I have been studying voice for 35 years.
Wow.
And I always said I'm in remedial singing because I never sang as a child, and I had issues with my tongue and had to go to speech therapy, and feel like I've just been undoing before I could even start to reform. So I know what you mean. Like, I haven't given up. Sometimes I think, why am I still doing this?
Yeah.
Because I haven't tried every single thing yet.
Yeah. One of the things that I do in skating and even in dance is I recognize that I'm doing moves as I'm going out there and I'm just chatting with someone that were once so difficult. There's something called a mohawk, and it's just skating on one foot and switching to the other, but you're just on one foot and then the other foot. Whenever I would see someone when I first started skating, because I skated as an adult, I'd be like, wow, they're a great skater, because they could just switch back and forth so easily and relax. A mohawk for me is a non-thinking. Now, it's just no big deal. But if I go back and I say, this was once hard, every time I'm working on something new, it's like, see, you did that. And that's what I always encourage people to do when they're going after something new and hard. And also what my mother likes to remind me of when I feel like I'm not accomplishing things, because I go through that, is look at what you have. Look at what you've done, and know that you'll get there with this as well. And if you love it every moment, if you're passionate about what you're doing every moment, like with your singing, it doesn't take motivation to do it. You want to sing for the joy of singing. So yeah, there's all these things in your way, but you're enjoying it in the moment, even when you get frustrated. And you have to admit that. You know, you're doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, our dreams are there for a reason. They're our guides to what our life is supposed to be. Instead of what everybody else has been telling you you're supposed to be, your dreams are there, and they constantly whisper, even though you don't want to listen to them. And most of the time, for many people, it takes a disaster in their lives for them to wake up and say, okay, it's now or never. And so there's that saying, whatever your belief is, universe, God, goddess, that first it kind of tickles you with the feather, wake up, there's more to your life. And then, or you're going down the wrong path. And then it's like a little bit of a tap with a hammer. And then it's like, oh, what the heck, you're not going to get this. And the sledgehammer comes to your whole life, and you're like, what happened? And then as you pick up the pieces, you start listening a little bit better. You hope anyway. So I always tell people, start going after your dreams before the sledgehammer hits you. Listen to the feather.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, mine always comes with resting, you know, like it's time to take a break, it's time to rest, and that feather is there. Just brush it off, and then all of a sudden the sledgehammer hits you with the flu, and you're just stuck. You know, so there's always something talking to us, whether it's our subconscious or a higher power. And if you listen, you find that your life gets a lot bigger and a lot better.
Sounds like yours has.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always going to want more. I'm always going to strive for more. And now it's this vision of what I can do for all the people coming to the conference that are sharing their gifts, to our sponsors, to all the attendees. And I just want so much for them in this one day that I wake up thinking about it, I go to sleep thinking about it. Luckily, I have dance and skating to distract me a little bit, and my friends. But, you know, I'm going off to dance in Cuba next week, and life gets bigger and bigger. You don't get through a list of 101 dreams and get to 96 and think, okay, I'm done. All of a sudden, you have another 100, and you just keep seeing it expanding. And I just keep thinking, one lifetime isn't enough. Like, no, I need at least 3 now, you know? And so it's a grand way to live life, and I feel incredibly fortunate that I have chosen to live this way.
Yeah. So what would be the greatest response you could hear from people who come to the conference? What would you love to hear?
Oh, that they're just going to go out and try everything. That they're going to realize it doesn't have to be one dream, or they're going to be like, now I know I can do it. That they feel so connected to the people that taught them these things, because there are so many instructors out there that believe in people and want to share their talents, and that they just had the greatest day that lifted them, that it's not motivation anymore, that they found that passion and it's just going to carry them, and that they come back next year and they tell me, or online or whatever, and they just tell me everything they're doing. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to build this worldwide community of women just saying, this is mine, this is my voice, this is my dream, and I did it.
That's great. When is this incredible event happening?
April 29th at the Western Waterfront in Boston.
In Boston, okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So if people are coming from out of town, can they stay at the hotel?
They can, or in the Seaport District. Excuse me. Or I suggest Airbnb all over the city, just so you get to know the community even more.
So let's talk a minute about like putting on an event. So that wasn't a dream that you had early on. It's something that came to you as something that you wanted to offer to help women get over that hump, get over the obstacle, the resistance, the waiting, the forgetting.
Yes.
And so what are the 3 things that if someone was, thinking, oh, I'd love to put on an event, what advice would you say before you start doing it? What's the first 3 things they have to do?
Find a great company that puts on events. I tried to do it on my own and failed miserably. And then I teamed up with FMP Productions, and they're just fantastic, and I trust them, and they know how to do this. So find people that know what they're doing and have experience in it. Make sure you have a vision for it, and really think about how you want to do it, what you want there, and then be really flexible on how it comes about, because it's going to change, and it's going to morph, and it's going to grow. The one thing I couldn't put at the event was going on your dream trip. So how do we make that happen? Well, Oddly Travel donated and sponsored this beautiful trip that we'll be giving away at the end of the event. For every woman who buys a ticket in the month of March, they get entered to win it. So I didn't know that would happen. So you have to stay open and talk to people and not be, this is my event, this is how it has to go, because it has a life of its own. But definitely, number one thing, find people who know what they're doing.
Okay, so find people who know what they're doing, stay flexible. What would the third thing be?
And find your mission.
Find
Have
your
that
mission.
vision,
Yes.
and then be flexible with it. And just go for it full guns with everything you have, and know that it's going to continually morph and grow.
So what was your biggest, aside from this travel surprise, did you have any other things that you didn't expect?
Oh, so we've been talking to Harley Davidson about bringing their motorcycles, and I didn't think about that, but wow, I want to ride a Harley, or just sit on one and rev it. Right now, we're crossing fingers, and we're trying so hard. We're working with the Skating Club of Boston to we couldn't put a rink up, and they came to us and said, well, we can put one of those synthetic ones. So we're trying to figure out how to do that to actually have figure skating there. And, so many women came to me and said, I don't know how to ask for what I'm worth in my job, in life. And someone came to me, the Empowered Messenger, and she's done many businesses, and now she helps women to go inside and to find that power to say, this is what I'm worth, and you are going to pay me. So, and then boudoir photos. Never even thought about that. So scared to do it, but they've gotten me convinced that this is just a very empowering experience. And so we're going to do a grand boudoir. And it doesn't matter if you take clothes off or if you don't, but striking that pose. So it's just so many things that I never imagined that are going to be there that day, and that women get to try out. And the number one rule is that if someone comes up to you, asks you to do something, you do it. And you play.
So it's say yes.
It's say yes in that moment. So that when you go home, you can say no to all the things that everybody else wants you to do, because you say, no, I have to go salsa dancing tonight. There's a class, and that's all there is to it. End of story, this is mine. Or no, I'm starting this business. End of story, this is mine.
Yeah. There's a word that has kept with me in my coming online and becoming an online coach, and I guess this is an outgrowth of that, and it's undeterred.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Not knowing exactly the pathway, how you're going to meet certain challenges, but feeling undeterred.
Yeah. I always tell people, because I recently realized this, that I'm everyone would think I live my life without fear. It's kind of like this little balloon, it just kind of hangs out, bobs around my head, sometimes goes straight to my heart where it's like palpitating there. I've just learned to live with it because I know that on the other side of those butterflies and that fear is just the most amazing experience you're ever going to have. And that's what I really want women to walk away with that day.
So I have a box here that I have wild cards. They are like power cards, and I'd love for you to pick one and just riff on it for something about the business, something about this event, or something personal.
So I received gratitude. I personally believe that gratitude is absolutely the most powerful feeling that you can have. Whether it's for going after a dream and being grateful that you're taking that step or that you even have that dream, it changes that fear. It changes that moment of I'm never going to be there. And getting grateful for every single thing you have in a moment brings you to presence, because so often we're in the future of what could go wrong, of what might go wrong, of how we're going to fall, or even how we're going to succeed. And gratitude brings you right back to where you are. And it's the power that we carry because it's the deep love for everything that we have.
I love what you say, that kind of that in the gratitude, you can't feel fear.
Yeah, because at the moment you realize that you already have so much. And people will say, well, I don't have this, or I don't have, oh, get grateful. And you'll start to see, you get to breathe. If you've ever had trouble breathing or was choking, yeah, you know how awesome it is to be able to breathe. And if you can just start there, it starts growing. And you can be grateful for so much that suddenly your mood shifts.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming on. I'm going to put about the event in the show notes.
Great.
It's called Dream Tasters.
The Dreams Tasting Conference for Women.
Dream Tasting Conference for Women. Viewers can look it up. Thanks for coming on to Women Inspired.
Thank you for doing the show and for having me on. It's just a fantastic thing that you're bringing out to the world.
Great. Thanks so much for coming on to the show. We hope you tune in to the next episode. Change.